Hello everybody and welcome to Against the Fence. This is your UFC 272 Aftermath show where we recap all of the events from Saturday night's main card. We'll also take a look at the updated fighter rankings card from UFC.com, and then lastly we take a look at the social segment. We see what the gossip is and we propel our own opinions on it. So don't go anywhere. All right, so first up on the card, we have Sergey Spivak defeating Greg Hardy via round 1 TKO. Secondly, we had Kevin Holland picking up a second round TKO against Alex Oliveira, and that was his welterweight debut. Then we had Bryce Mitchell in the featherweight division defeating Edson Barbosa via unanimous decision, with one judge scoring at 30-25 and one judge scoring at 30-26 and one judge scoring at 30-27. Then in the co-main event, we had Rafael dos Anjos defeating Renato Moicano in a 5-round decision, with one judge scoring at 49-45 and then the other two judges scoring at 49-44 in favor of the Brazilian. Then in the main event, the grudge match, the rival, the one we was all waiting for, American top team Illumini, Colby Covington defeated Jorge Masvidal via decision, with one judge scoring at 49-46, one judge scoring at 50-44, and the other judge scoring at 50-45 in favor of the number 1 ranked welterweight. And that was your quick recap. All right, let's take a look into the fighter rankings then and see what's up there. All right, so the rankings. First up in the heavyweight division, Sergey Spivak moves to 13-3. Now let's talk about this guy's performance, because he kind of did what I was expecting him to do a little bit. I mean, we knew that he's got great ground and pound. We knew he was going to try and take it to the floor. But part of me thought that perhaps he might be a little bit hesitant because of Greg Hardy's power. And I predicted a 3rd round TKO. But look, he just went after him straight away. Got the takedown, got the job done, ground and pound, and man, you know, it's a quick win, and he'll probably have a quick turnaround next, I'd imagine. You know, you can see there, he's now slotted in back into the rankings at number 15. Impressive performance, nonetheless. But what would we like to see next from Sergey Spivak then? I personally would like to see Augusto Sakai, because he's lost 3 in a row. You can see there he's in at number 12. Ivanov is fighting Marcos Rogério de Lima. That's at UFC 274. So, you know, there's a little bit away to go for that fight. So I don't think Spivak would. He might wait around. He might stay active. Who knows? But he could wait around for the winner of that fight, should it arise. But I think Augusto Sakai is going to be a good one, because I think it's a good one for both guys, effectively, because Augusto Sakai, he's coming off of 3 losses in a row. You know, other than Alistair Overeem, that fight, which was a 5-rounder, by the way, Sakai has been stopped mostly on the feet by deadly strikers. Overeem actually finished him on the ground. So, you know, for someone like Spivak, I think, you know, you look at it stylistically, you know, he could probably get Sakai down without a doubt. But on the feet, Sakai would definitely have a favour in the striking department. You know, he's got excellent Muay Thai to his game. So, but he would have to probably stay off the fence against Spivak and you know, try and prevent that takedown. And if he's able to do that, then, you know, I could probably give the edge to Sakai in that fight. So I think that's a pretty solid pick, to be honest. But yeah, let us know what you think about that one. And I got another one for Sergey Spivak as well. And I think this guy, favours Spivak a little bit. Both guys like to do similar things. And it's actually Parker Porter, you know, because both of them are comfortable on the ground. You know, on the feet, I'd probably would give the advantage to Spivak, maybe. I don't know, but then Porter likes to land those looping shots over the top. So, and Spivak will also have a 3 inch height advantage going into that fight as well. So it'd probably be a difficult one for Porter. I'd imagine that Spivak would probably want to utilize his reach a little bit in that fight as well. You know, I like that fight. I think either of those options make sense. Personally, I would like to see the Sakai one. I think stylistically, both match up very well. And, you know, Spivak's got a chance now to climb back in the rankings. Whether or not he does get that upper fight, we'll have to see. Because obviously, before the Greg Hardy fight, he lost to Tom Aspinall. But look, Tom Aspinall has risen massively since that fight now. So, you know, he's no slouch to lose to, of course. But then you look at his other wins, he's got Alexei Oleinik in there, who's always tough and always durable. You know, he dealt with him on the ground. So if he can deal with Oleinik on the ground, I think he could probably deal with Parker Porter, and I would favour him in that fight. So I guess if you're Sergey Spivak, you probably want the Parker Porter fight. Personally, I like people who get thrown a challenge, and I think the Sakai one would be more challenging for him. But let's then go on to Greg Hardy. What's next for Greg Hardy? It's kind of tough because, look, do you give him one more shot in the UFC? That's the question. You know, he's coming off, you know, his losing streak is just not good, is it? You know, was it 4 in a row now? 5 in a row? I think, let me double check because it's 3 in a row. Okay, so not so bad, but still, I guess he's lost to some very tough competitors, Marcin Tybura, Tai Tuivasa, and now Sergey Spivak. So, but then before that, you know, he's beaten the likes of Maurice Green. I don't really rate Maurice Green. Maurice Green's a bit of a, you know, a rangy striker though. So, you know, do you keep Greg Hardy around? Let's see if the UFC do. I think they probably would. But then he's getting on a little bit as well. I think he's like nearly 40. Let's go on to the chats then. So, Ash says, Ash is in the chat. Hello, Ash. Run that one if Volkov doesn't turn up for UFC London, says Sai. Sai, he's already beaten Spivak. I don't think you want to do that. Ash says Walt Harris. That's a really good one, actually. Walt Harris is not a bad shout. Have they both fought before? Do you know what? Yes. And do you know what? He lost to Walt Harris, Spivak did. And that was back in 2019, a little bit of time ago. Do they run it back? I don't know, man. Don't know. Do you know what? It's funny how you've mentioned that side because my option for Greg Hardy is actually Chase Sherman. So you've definitely been looking at my notes. I would like to see Chase Sherman. You know, I think it's someone else who's fallen on hard times as well and will likely want to sort of stand and trade with Hardy. Chase Sherman, like me and Ash, if you watch the watch-alongs, you know we were frustrated about Chase Sherman in his last 2 fights. And look, I think it'll be a fight where we just don't give a what happens. Just let him stand and bang. Like, you know, it'd be a different one to pick. That's for sure. Do I go for Chase Sherman? Do I go for Greg Hardy? I don't really want to pick either of them. I might just leave that one out. But yeah, it would be like a loser gets cut from the UFC type of scenario. That's for sure. No, that's a good shout. But yeah, that's the only pick I've got for Greg Hardy. But I think we should probably move on to the second fight of the night, which was in the welterweight division. Making his debut, Kevin Holland. Man, he's 22-7 now. And look, I think he did look good. That first round was a little bit tentative for him. You know, I think Oliveira had a lot of success. But look, Oliveira had a lot of success against Rakhmonov in that first round as well, I felt. He starts off generally quite well. But man, Kevin Holland turned up the heat in that second, got him down and just rained down on those elbows. And if you haven't checked out our shorts from we uploaded yesterday, after this, go check that out. You can see our reaction. And it's just the beat to the music is just perfect for those elbows. Definitely recommend. But what I would want next for Kevin Holland, now he called out Donald Cerrone, which is a good call out. Right, I think it's a bit of a weak call out personally. Now, Donald is a vet for sure. I've said this before. I like Donald, but I don't want to see him take any more punishment. He is fighting Joe Lozon coming up soon. I think that's a good fight because for both, it's against, you know, it's both vets going at it. Kevin Holland's a lot younger than Donald Cerrone, and look, I just don't think, you know, I just don't really like that option. But what would you guys give him a ranked opponent? That's the question. You know, do you give him like a Li Jingliang perhaps? You know, because that's a good option. I think both guys are pretty solid. Li Jingliang's probably, I don't know who, he's got the power advantage over Holland, that's for sure. But Holland's got that, you know, sniper of a right hand of his, and I think stylistically that's a really good fight. You know, does Lee take that fight? Yeah, I think he probably should, coming off of that Hamzat loss, for sure. It's definitely not an option that I've actually written down. It's staring at me at the rankings right now. You know, like a Zhang Lang or a Ponzinibbio could favour Kevin Holland. You know, I think Kevin Holland could probably look good in the either of those fights. You've got Ponzinibbio's on 28-5. You know. And Holland's on 22-7, so you know Holland's got more losses than Ponzinibbio. I think that's a fun fight that I like, but it's not what one I've written down. The one that I've written down would be the winner of Randy Brown versus Chaos Williams. Okay, which is happening. Is it happening this weekend? No, it's not. I think it got announced, but it's happening soon. I know that for sure. I like the Randy Brown option because Randy Brown is very tall and very long for the division as well. So stylistically, you know, okay, maybe it might not work out a great fight. Maybe it would be a bit tentative. On the opposite hand, you've got Chaos Williams. He likes to hit, man. He likes to bang. So, you know, you've got... I think I'd favour Chaos Williams against Kevin Holland. I actually would, you know, because Kevin Holland does get hit. You know, and Randy Brown, I think, would be maybe a little bit tentative with Kevin Holland. I don't know. That's my fault. That's my opinion. But Ash chimed in. He says Williams got a fight. Yeah, I know. I said that. I said the winner of this fight. So whoever wins this, you know, who do you think's going to win out of Randy Brown and Chaos Williams? That's the question. Winner gets Kevin Holland. You know, or Kevin Holland likes to step in at short notice. He could step in if either one of those pull out. That's another option. You know, only time will tell. We'll have to see. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but we'll see. And then my last option for Kevin Holland is, you know, and that's if he wants to fight again straight away, you know, because he could get paired up against the likes of Nico Price. Now, that's a fun fight because Nico Price is never in a boring fight. And Kevin Holland we know he's entertaining. He's always entertaining. He always brings it. So I think that'll be, you know, one for the fans, and I think it'll be an ideal kind of pay-per-view opener, you know, just to get people going, man. And I think they probably both would swing down on that. Ash says Holland Price, book it. Well, there you go, brother. There you go. I mean, look, I would home down in one of these options and just say, look, this is the one I'm going for, and this is one I'm the most confident on. But look, I just like giving you guys just juicy fights. You know, I just can't help it. I'd like to chuck in a few options. But they're my options for Kevin Holland. Okay, so the question is, what's next for Alex Oliveira? I'll keep this short and sweet and simple. He's lost 4 in a row now, man. So I'd imagine his time up with the UFC is over. Does he get signed for Eagle FC? I think that probably would be a good shout for him. Or does he get... You know, does Bellator ring him up? Do you know what? Bellator don't seem to be trying to snap up these fighters very quickly lately. You know, I think they've changed their business model a little bit. I think they are doing a little bit of scouting and trying to really get the quick up-and-coming guys that look, you know, impressive in the local circuit. So I think Eagle FC would be a good option for Alex Oliveira, unless he wants to go for the bare knuckle option. But that's my opinion. If you guys think otherwise, let me know in the chat or the comment section, depending on whenever you're watching this video. So let's now move on to that third fight of the night. In the featherweight division, a flawless performance from your man, Bryce Mitchell. And he made a hefty donation after the win as well to Children's Hospice. Mad respect for that. He's gained so many people's respect after doing that. And you can't knock the guy for sure. You know, he looked phenomenal against Edson Barbosa. In my opinion, it was, you know, he dealt with the pressure of Barbosa a little bit early in that first round. And, you know, once he got that takedown, it was confidence sky high from then. And look, it's people compare the performance... Bryce Mitchell's performance for when Khabib beat Barbosa. But look, you know, I don't think it's one to compare because you're looking at a very weathered Barbosa now. It's completely different. And, you know, Khabib's ground and pound is just always relentless. And I think he punished Barbosa a lot more than Bryce Mitchell did. Bryce Mitchell gave him a lot more to think about, potentially. Actually, no, backtrack that. The pressure of Khabib on the ground always gets you something to think about. But what I'm saying is the constant submission threats that Mitchell is able to put on you when he's down there. You know, we saw that against the Charles Rosa fight for sure. So no doubt Barbosa would have been prepared for that. But let's see. Damien. Yes, Damien. Welcome back, my brother. Always good to hear your opinions as always. He says he should be the new Zumba game model. I think are you on about Alex Oliveira? Yeah, I mean he always comes in fight night at Shred City. I guess that could be an option for him now. Yeah, if fighting's not for you anymore. I mean, I think he's probably getting on quite a bit now. But yeah, let's head back on to Bryce Mitchell then. Let's talk about what's next for this guy. Personally, I would like to see him. I mentioned this in the watch along as well. I'd like to see him again in the winner of Ivalov versus Dan Ige. However, that fight is in June, so we've got a little bit away to go until we see that fight. So, you know, Ivalov is fast with great hands and has got excellent trips in his arsenal as well. So I think he gives Mitchell maybe a lot more to think about. But at the same time, you know, the power of Dan Ige is insane at featherweight. So it's going to be interesting to see how that fight plays out. I'd imagine that Ivalev takes the win. That's the pick for me at the moment. And I would like to see Ivalev versus Bryce Mitchell. Look, you know, Ivalev is undefeated as well. Both guys have got 15 win streak at the moment. They've not been defeated. If Ivalev beats Ige, he goes up to 16, of course. So both guys are evenly matched. They're probably going to be ranked the same as well if Ivalev does beat Dan Ige. So, look, I mean, that fight is the fight to make, in my opinion. You know, I don't see him fighting like a Josh Emmett or a Calvin Kattar as of yet. I think those two will actually play out and they'll fight each other. I think that's a solid fight. If Josh Emmett stays healthy, of course. The Giga Chikadze option I haven't written down because, look, I quite like Giga Chikadze, and I think that's a bad matchup for Bryce Mitchell. Giga, sorry, to fight Bryce Mitchell. So, and look, you see Ash is trying to boost up the Giga option. I don't think Giga will take that fight. I honestly don't. I think he will look to fight maybe the winner of Alex Caceres versus Sadiq Youssef. I think Sadiq Youssef is a better style matchup for Giga. So maybe he's waiting to find out what the outcome of that one is. Damien says Bryce should be a main event for a fight night next. Do you know what? That is a good option. That is a very good option. But, you know, are they likely? I guess they could do. We did see Barbosa versus Chikadze for a main event, and both guys were quite low in the rankings at that time. So, you know, maybe, hopefully more people jump on board with Bryce Mitchell after this win. And look, we could very well see that. It would have to be against Giga, though, I think, in my opinion, if we're going to see a main event for Bryce Mitchell. You know, Giga's been in a few main events now, so I think it's possible. Shane Burgos says, Ash, you think Shane Burgos would... But Bryce Mitchell should be fighting up, though, because, you know, he's gone up 2 spots in the rankings and he's undefeated. And Shane Burgos lost to Barbosa. So I don't really see how that one makes sense. And Burgos is coming off that win against Billy Quarantillo. Yeah, he looked good in that fight, but yeah, I don't really see that one. But my other option for Bryce Mitchell, do you know what? And I said this on the watch along as well. I think Arnold Allen, if he loses to Hooker, because if he beats Hooker, he's going to be fighting up. You know, the guy's on a 10-fight win streak. It'll be 11 by then. You know, he needs to be tested against some of these top echelon guys. Maybe that fight would materialize in the future if Allen does win. Potentially, yeah. I would like to see it 100%. But if he does lose to Hooker, then yeah, I can see a Bryce Mitchell fight kind of happening. And it's a really fun one because Allen's really quite good on the ground. He's got good wrestling, and he's able to chain things up with his striking quite well as well. He does a lot of work at TriStar, or has done a lot of TriStar. I'm not sure if he's still there. We'd have to fact check that. But yeah, I think it'd be an up and down kind of fight. I think it'd be a fun one if Arnold Allen does lose. But let's hope he doesn't. You know, he's our Brit, and we want him to fight top competition. So maybe we'll see that down the line. As for Edson Barbosa, though, you know, the question is, does he return to lightweight, or does he stick around at featherweight and just be a gatekeeper? You know, they are the options. He could fight someone up and coming. I would like him to fight maybe the winner of Youssef versus Caceres. That's one of the options. Yeah, I did say that option would be good for someone like, what did I say, for Giga Chikadze, but you know, I think either option is great for everyone in that party. Youssef versus Alex Caceres is a tough fight. I would like to see Youssef come out on top on that fight. Caceres is going to be dangerous on the ground, but look, Caceres, I think, is a good matchup for Barbosa if he's sticking around in this featherweight division. You know, the guy's very tall and skinny at the same time. There's not a lot of power to that guy. Caceres is going to want to drag it to the ground, but the question is, does he have the strength to do it against Barbosa? You know, he'll probably use his height to try and get him down. Body lock, perhaps, on a trip. But I think it's a difficult one. I think it's a good one for Barbosa to try and keep it on the feet. But we'll see how that fight plays out. But the other option, if Barbosa is sticking around in the division, would be Julian Erosa. You know, Julian Erosa likes to get it to the ground and smite people. But again, you know, he's another tall featherweight. He's a big featherweight. I think it'd be a good fight for Erosa. You know, I'd imagine he'd be an underdog in that option. I'd probably would want to pick Erosa, actually. I quite like Erosa. I think he's really talented. And, you know, fingers crossed. Ash says, yeah, I think Barbosa would have to wait and see how other matchups play out. Yeah, I mean, you know, he got completely dominated. He's going to be out for a little while. Okay, let's move on then to the co-main event. Let's set that fight aside. Rafael dos Anjos. Mate, this guy is not out of it yet. Now, I want to say a few things regarding this fight. Or regarding dos Anjos, you know, he did look really good against Renato Moicano. Again, against another guy who stepped on at short notice, you know. I love dos Anjos, the way that he's able to mix things up and he's able to chain his wrestling in the perfect takedown opportunities. But, you know, I think against a tougher guy in the division, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays out. After seeing that performance, I did think, yes, the Fiziev fight wouldn't be great for Fiziev. I think I would favour RDA against those two, but again, does RDA get Fiziev down? I think he probably could, and it gives Fiziev a nightmare of a fight, especially if it's 5 rounds. If it's 3, maybe different story. But I think that would probably be the likely option next for dos Anjos. Really, it's hard to give him anything higher. After, you know, he's without a finish since 2019, you know, it's got a little bit of weight to it. But credit to Mark Goddard in that fight as well. I got to mention Mark Goddard because look, he gave Renato Moicano a lot of opportunities in that fight to carry on. The doctor was looking ever so closely at Moicano, and I thought he was going to stop it at one point. But look, props to Mark Goddard. He ticked all the boxes. He did the tests, every test, the vision test, the walking test, etc. And look, Moicano passed both of them, but he said to him, look, if you're not giving me anything in the next 30 seconds, then I am going to stop this fight. So, and look, he came out like a madman in that last round. You know, props to Moicano as well. It was highly entertaining last round. Look, okay, Ashley saying it's crazy because you could do RDA Conor. Yeah, that would be another option. Now, I want to get into this because, yeah, RDA is kind of begging for this match ever since he pulled out due to injury many a year ago and wasn't able to fight Conor. And, of course, Conor's the money fight, right? And dos Anjos has been around a long time. Both guys, you know, Conor's in at 9 at the moment. RDA's at 6, but look, it's a Conor fight. You're going to accept it because you're going to get more money, so it makes sense. Conor, for me, it doesn't make sense for Conor, but it depends on where Conor's mindset is at. Because if he wants to really try and jump back into competition, Rafael dos Anjos is the fight you want to go for. Not a fight against, like, you know, a Niaz trilogy or a Masvidal. But look, both of those fights are going to get him more money. So options are on the table. It's going to be interesting to see where Conor's mindset is at and what fight he's going to get offered. I can't see it happening against Dos Anjos. I really can't, I'm afraid. Ash saying, but some are saying Masvidal versus Conor. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. Ash says, I would love to see RDA Chandler. You know, that's a really good option as well. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's happening with Chandler at the moment. Chandler's a one spot above him. You know, is he going to fight? Is Chandler going to fight Tony Ferguson? It's been rumoured before. It looked likely. Why has that fight not been made yet? Questions lie on it. If that fight's not going to happen, Chandler is the option. So for Dos Anjos, yeah, I like it. I think it's a good option. Well played, Ash. Yeah, okay. Ash is calling for it to be booked. I like it. As for Renato Moicano there, and now after UFC 271, I did say I would like to see him fight Hasbrat. Now, do you guys want to see that fight? I kind of still want to see it. I'm not going to lie, because like I said, Hasbrat sticks to his boxing. I think it's a fight where Moicano would probably be able to incorporate his kicks and maybe get Hasbrat down. Hasbrat's quite a big guy for the division. It's going to be interesting to see if he was able to get him down to maybe take the back and submit him. I think it's a good fight for both guys, personally. You know, the pressure of Hasbrat could very well get to Moicano in that one. So, you know, book it. I would say book it. But if not, I've got another two options. It would be the winner of Lando Venata versus Charles Jourdain. Both guys are going to strike with him. I think it'd be a really good fight for him to get either of those to the ground. Yeah, I would like to see that. Or a fight against Bobby Green. You know, again, someone else who's stepped up on short notice quite recently. So, you know, and Bobby Green is, again, another fighter who predominantly uses his hands. He's not very good when he taking kicks. I think Moicano would probably utilize his kicking game a little bit more in that fight and try and get Bobby down like a similar way to what Makhachev did. You know, if he's able to take the back there, submit Bobby Green, then, you know, it's a good win for Renato Moicano, in my opinion, because Bobby Green has looked amazing recently, other than that Makhachev fight. So they're my options. Yeah, let us know, guys, in the comment section what you think. And if you agree with me, don't forget to pop a like on the video, of course, as well. Let's move on then to the main event before we get into some juicy gossip from the socials. The main event in the welterweight division, there's probably there's a lot to talk about this fight, really, isn't there? Colby Covington, flawless. He kind of did what I thought he was going to do, really. And I predicted a decision for him. You know, both guys seemed a bit, I don't know, it was, you would have thought that Masvidal would have probably gone for it a little bit more in this fight, but you could tell that both guys had respected each other's strengths in there, you know? It kind of, the first initial takedown just kind of seemed a bit, I don't know, it was kind of weird, and Chael Sonnen kind of highlighted this in the week, and I listened to a podcast. Both guys, you know, in the initial exchange, when Masvidal was raining elbows down, and you could see Colby was a little bit worried about getting that takedown, but like, he got it nonetheless. And from there, it was just sky high for Covington. Covington really kind of lacked in the jiu-jitsu department when he was down on the ground, because it looked like he could have potentially got the back of Masvidal and looked for a rear naked choke, but you know, he was kind of happy to really ride it out and slow Masvidal down that way. But look, after the fight, he called out Dustin Poirier. Now, I can see where he's going with the Poirier fight. I don't like it. This is my opinion on it. He's doing it because there's a storyline there, okay? It's another ATT kind of guy, right? But it's a very winnable fight for him. And I don't like it. You know, why would you go after a guy who used to be a featherweight, who's moved to lightweight? And, you know, I guess there was rumors that the Poirier would fight Diaz at 170, and he's fine at testing himself at 170 because, you know, there's not as a lot of options for him at lightweight now. But Colby, why would you go for that fight? I get the storyline sells, but the problem is with Colby is, now this is something that John Anik mentioned in the Anik and Florian podcast, and it's very spot on. And I want you guys to do it. If you're watching this on your laptop right now, get your phone open. If you're watching this on your phone, get your laptop open and check the UFC rankings for the welterweight division and tell me which fighters out of that list has Colby Covington fought. Go. Looking down at this list, he's only fought Masvidal and Kamaru Usman. That's it. The guys he's beaten, the Tyron Woodleys, you know, the Damian Myers, they've all fallen out. You know, they've all gone elsewhere. So there's so many matchups for Colby. But the problem is Colby doesn't want to fight down. He wants, I think, money fights, or he just wants to fight the champ. And it's ridiculous because I think if you're going to go after, if you can, that's your route, then personally, I think people should just go above you eventually. Okay, let's see. Colby Leon says, Ash, are you on drugs tonight? Colby Leon. Leon's going to fight for the belt. I mean, if Leon loses to Usman, then I guess that would be an option. I think it's a horrible fight for Leon, though. You know, Colby's the best guy in that division, not named Kamaru Usman. And, you know, I want to see him tested. Jim Celeb, welcome to the channel, my buddy. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, hit a like on the video. Thanks for your comments. He says, not sure there are many fights for Colby in July. Okay, so is that the time period where you'd want to kind of see him back? He says, Usman has said both fights with Colby were his two toughest fights. How about Whittaker for Colby? Oh, do you know what? You've thrown a curveball in there, son. There has been talks about Whittaker returning to 170, and yes, I like that. That's a great option if Whittaker was to make that jump back down again. But I think Whittaker's going to fight Vettori, in my opinion. That's one of the fights that's only left for him at middleweight, and I think it's an intriguing one. And look, I want to see that one first. If he loses that one, then yeah, okay, reconsider. But then at the same time, Whittaker's not getting any younger. And that jump down to welterweight is going to be even harder. So, look. Sai says, Islam Makhachev likes 172, lick his lips. Yeah, we're going to get into that later. Don't you worry about that. So, we'll touch up on that in a bit. But yeah, like I said, which one of these names is he fought before? There's so many good matchups. And look, I personally, and I said this in the watch along, I want to see him fight the winner of Luque versus Muhammad. Because if Usman gets past Edwards, then he's got to fight the winner of Burns against Chimaev. Or I don't know. If Chimaev beats Burns, you've got to do Chimaev Usman. Like, you've got to do that now. Why would you do the Covington fight and then Usman fight? I know that will, if he beats Covington single-handedly and makes it, and just mollywops him, which I think he probably does because of the size, then yeah, that magnitude of that fight just grows even bigger. But like, why would you waste it? Why would you risk it if you're the UFC? Because if he loses to Covington, that's it. There's not really much else for Usman. If Burns beats Chimaev, if he does, then I'd imagine that Usman would fight Bilal, the winner of Bilal versus Vicente Luque. That person would be next in line. If Khamzat wins, he fights Usman, then I think maybe the winner of Luque versus Muhammad would have to fight Covington in terms of the time period of things. Yeah? Or they'll just stick around. But I think the UFC would probably try and bend their arms behind their backs a little bit here and try and force the fight upon them. And for Colby as well. They've got to sit him down and go, look, we don't want to do this Poirier fight. We just don't think it's going to be big. I mean, they could make it big because it's another ATT story, like I said, but I just don't think there's weight to it. I really don't. So I would hope that the UFC sit Colby down and go, look, this is your options. You're going to have to just defend that top spot, really. You know, if you want to fight the champion again, you got to knock out some of these guys. Knock out Khamzat, for example. Then, you know, if Khamzat beats Burns, of course, then look, you're the dog again. You are the man. So yeah, that's my opinion on the matter. But yeah, get your opinions in the chat or the comment section below. You know, we like to reply to as much as we can here at ATF, because fan opinions matter most. Option for Jorge Masvidal though, the rematch for Nate Diaz. That's what I want to see. But the Nate Diaz option, you know, he's got one fight left in his contract. I've said time and time again, I think the UFC are trying to make that fight against Conor happen, the trilogy, before Nate escapes and goes elsewhere. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. I think the Conor fight happens. Maybe they'll reschedule a contract with Nate Diaz. If they do that, the option is for Masvidal. I heard, someone told me, I think it might have been Taylor Young. Shout out to Taylor Young. Or was it Ben? No, I think it was Ben Lawrence, actually. I think it might be some truth to it. I haven't looked into it. So if I am wrong, do shout at me. They said that Masvidal is on like a one-fight contract now. And he's going to get paid a lump sum each time. So, you know, if that is the case, then, of course, you know, those options are potential. But another option I'd throw in there, which Ash mentioned earlier, would be against Conor McGregor. If Conor McGregor wants the money fights, Masvidal's your man, other than Nate Diaz. Because, look, it's going to be a stand-up warfare. The build-up's going to be insane. Both guys are going to sell it. You're talking some record numbers, okay? Of course, the Nate Diaz trilogy will be record numbers as well. And yeah, it's 1-1, of course. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the UFC try to do. But I'd imagine it'd be Nate Diaz, win or lose, then fighting Masvidal. But, you know, in that time, do you chuck Masvidal back in there? Does Masvidal want to fight anyone else? Question. I don't know. Ash says, people saying Masvidal versus Wonderboy, run it again. Yeah, you could do, because Wonderboy's fallen on hard times. You know, he's lost against Burns and Muhammad now, so, you know, he's going to be fighting down without a doubt. It wasn't an entertaining first one, so I don't really want to see that fight. Yeah, I want to see my boy Stephen Wonderboy Thompson pick up another win, and against Masvidal, that would be ideal, you know, because Masvidal wants someone who's going to stand and strike with him. Thompson is your guy for that, but look, Thompson's no slouch, and he's very difficult to read. Yeah, I don't like that fight, really. I don't think it's for entertainment value. I don't like it. But let us know. We won't see another title run from him. No, I don't think we will. Yeah, I think that ship has sailed for that. But yeah, let us know, guys. Any more fight options you want for either Colby or Masvidal? Let us know in the chat. Yeah, some juicy options, I think, for both now. Okay, I think it's time, Si. I think it's time to move on to some social segments. Let's see what things have been happening on Twitter. Back into line. Boom. Okay, so the first one we have at the moment, I've got some strong opinions on this. I've looked into the full story a little bit. And then the first one is... That's not the one. No, you've done it backwards. Yeah. I got the Cain Velasquez one. That's number one. Yeah, Cain Velasquez story. You got it? Right, there we go. There we go. That's what we want. So, first story, judge denies reckless Cain Velasquez bail in attempt murder case. And, you know, it says here, I obviously feel sorry for him. I don't know who the words are. Who said this? Dana White said this. Okay, so Dana White said, I obviously feel sorry for him and his family. It's a horrible thing. I don't know enough details to speak on it. But from what I've heard, you know, we all say we'd do it if it ever happened to us, and Cain did it. Now, look. Barstool. That was via Barstool. Okay, Barstool. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, it's look, he's apparently he could be looking at 15 years in jail just off of attempted murder charge. And look, I've seen all the free Cain sort of stuff that's going along. And look, here's my opinion on it, and maybe some people in the US are gonna disagree with me, okay? But look, we all have opinions. if you pull a gun, if you chase a man down with a gun here in the UK, you are going to jail. Full stop. Regardless, you can't have any, you can't have any let-offs in this game. Look, I know it's a sad thing. We don't like paedophiles. No one likes paedophiles, of course. It's a bad thing. And yeah, you do feel the urge to want to hunt them down and kill them. But look, in the eyes of the law, you just can't simply chase someone down with a gun, regardless of what they've done. And look, I think there was better ways of handling it, really. But, it's the nature of the US, You over here in the UK, we have gun laws. There are laws in place. Back in the 70s, was it 70s or 80s, handguns were seized. You have to have a license to hold a weapon, a firearm in this country. Whereas, it's different over there in the US. And yeah, I get there's defending lands and things like that. But look, man, I just don't think it's the way to go about it. Plus, if you're Cain Velasquez, you're a former world champion. Why don't you just hunt him down and beat the fuck out of him? Like that, you would have got away with so much more. You would have got, you would have potentially got bail if you would have beat him of an inch of his life. I can't stick up for it, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's bad that the guy is, gets away scotch-free. Yeah, that's bad. That's a problem in the US justice system. Absolutely. And I'm all for that. Yeah, I want to see him put it behind bars. But personally, I think both guys need to be put behind bars. And look, you just can't give leeway for someone if they pull out a gun on someone. You can't be exceptions. That's what I'm saying. Oh, he was a paedophile. Oh, okay, it's fine. Like, okay, that's fine. Pull a gun on him or whatever, and all right, we'll let this slide. No, man. If he's threatened someone's life, then that's my opinion on it. But yeah, if you guys think otherwise, challenge me. That's fine. I completely respect your opinion. But yeah, that's on that case. Okay, let's move on then to our second story, which was about Islam Makhachev. Makhachev 100% expects move to 170 after watching UFC 272. Now, I did see this come out. I did see this. And, he said, I saw this fight. I witnessed front row when Masvidal fight versus Colby. Honestly, I really believe I can beat these guys one night. Both these guys. Because Colby, he have just wrestling. Okay, this is like broken English. I can beat him easy. His striking is very low. And other guy, Masvidal, I think he's so old now. He just makes money. He have couple more fight. He gonna retire. Look, yeah, I think I can see where he's going at, right? He thinks it's easy pickings. But I think he did later on say that he would want to win the belt at lightweight and then defend 3 to 5 times and then move up. Personally, I could see him do that in the future. And look, he's probably not going to retire like Khabib did. I think he's going to want to try and lap Khabib. I think he will. I think he should. Yeah, I like I said in my champ predictions, I think Islam Makhachev is the lightweight champion by the end of the year. Obviously, there's a lot of factors to go into that. The Dariush fight didn't happen. And apparently, we might be getting that next still. So that might be getting rescheduled. So, maybe towards the start of next year, he could end up finding his way into a title picture. Sai says, I do like that picture. Yeah, he just, oh man, he looked out of it, man. I'm not gonna lie, he was enjoying what he was watching there. Not gonna lie, but yeah, no, I think 170 could be a problem for Islam Makhachev just because of the size of the guys. And if look, by the time he's defended the lightweight belt a few times, Khamzat could be welterweight champion and maybe looking to get the middleweight strap by then. So who knows? But yeah, I see your comment, Ash. Ash says Islam versus Khamzat, mate. No. I'm sorry, no. Yeah, it sounds good because both guys are insane wrestlers, but Khamzat's just so much bigger. And I think by then, Khamzat's going to want to be jumping back up to middleweight. He's a big guy for welterweight. He's insane. I don't think there's that many cuts down to welterweight in him. I really don't. You know, and I think Makhachev would look pretty small at welterweight and would get tested. Makhachev against Colby, I do like that option. I think that's really good. Because the ultimate question is, can Islam take Colby down? And can Colby take Islam down? And obviously, the size advantage you'd probably give to Colby in that fight, I think that fight would be a lot closer than Islam against Hamzat. I really do. Yeah, that's my kind of 5 cents on it. I would expect him to do that later on down the line. Try and lap Khabib. No, let us know what you think about that. Let's move on to our last story. Our last story of the socials picks. Which is one from ESPN. Which is kind of a quote from Chael Sonnen. It says, the quote from Chael says, the entire reason Conor McGregor did the 170-pound experiment is because Dana White said Jorge Masvidal is too big. Conor does not agree. That fight can happen. Now, look, I agree and disagree with Chael here. I think that fight can happen, and definitely so now, because Conor has put on some extra mass, and we've seen that, right? The guy looks huge. But I don't think that was the reason for him to go up to 170. The reason he went up to 170 was because Nate Diaz had to step in last minute against Conor back when Conor was scheduled to fight RDA at lightweight. And Diaz said, look, I'm not making lightweight here. I'll do it at 170. And of course, Conor didn't have to cut the weight for that. So Conor fought his welterweight debut against Nate Diaz, kind of like a last minute kind of thing. Now, he stayed at welterweight after that because he was determined to get that fight back against Nate, and he wanted it to be on level playing field as before, the same weight. So that's why he had his second fight against Nate at 170. That's the reason. And then, in my opinion, why he had the Cowboy fight at 170, I just think, personally, he'd been out for a little while, and I think he was desperate for a win at that point. He had lost. He was coming off of the loss against Khabib, and I thought that Donald looked easy pickings in there. So that's my opinion on it. I agree and disagree with Chael, but look, I'm all for Conor versus Masvidal. I want that fight eventually down the line, but there's so many options. We want to see Conor fight, and I'd hope that he still sticks around. I think he's still motivated and competitive. I've heard that from, I think, John Kavanagh, he's still having conversations with Conor on the phone about, making the climb back up in the lightweight division. And like I said before, the Rafael dos Anjos would probably be the ideal matchup for him, and maybe the easier matchup in terms of size. I think the UFC's agenda is the Nate Diaz fight. I think that will be targeted for July, because we all want to see the trilogy, right? And Nate's running out of contract, so I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. And then maybe, because he's on a win, look to do the RDA fight or the Masvidal fight. I think Masvidal, I'd prefer to see the Masvidal one, honestly, to be fair. But I think Conor might want to strive for that lightweight belt. Who knows, man? Time will tell. But look, like I said before, let us know in the comments, what would you rather see? Would you rather see Conor fight Masvidal? Would you rather see Conor fight RDA? Or would you rather see Conor fight Diaz in the trilogy next? Yeah, they want that Diaz fight, says Ash. Ash kind of agrees with me there a little bit. But yeah, get it in the comments section. Hit a like on the video. And yeah, if that's what you, let us know your decisions on that. All right, okay. Let's take us back to the home screen then. That's your social segment. Thanks for tuning in for that. Big back. Cool. Right. So, lastly, before we wrap up on this, you must join us this weekend for another watch-along. It's a stacked card this weekend, man. And Thiago Santos takes on Magomed Ankalaev in the light heavyweight division, 5-rounder. That's going to be fire. We've also got Alex Pereira on the card against Ash's boy Bruno Silva. That's going to be fire. We want to see whether Pereira can get past another person. and make his strive towards Izzy Adesanya. That's the first fight on the night on the card. I'm super excited for that one. And then also you got the return of Terence McKinney, and he's a popular guy. He's fighting Drew Dober, and I think that's a real good test for him. So that's going to be interesting. And look, we got so many great fights on that card. That's just only to name a few. But like I said before, previously, if you haven't done so already after this video, do check out our YouTube shorts, because we're slowly, uploading our reactions in a shorts format now with some music to it. It's quite fun. It's entertaining. And look, man, go check that out, for sure. And don't forget to hit a like on the video. If you join us for the first time, hit the subscribe button as well. We're a UFC fan channel, and this is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate with the UFC. Fan opinions matter most for us, and we're all for you guys. So thanks for joining in for the Aftermath show. Take care, guys. We'll see you at the weekend. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.